We are now back. So what we're going to do is finish our cat rig. What we're going to do first is we'll add the other leg. To add the other leg, it'll actually be very simple now that we have a first leg. All we'll need to do is select the pelvis, and then from the pelvis in the Modify tab, we'll just select Add Leg. And what this will do is it'll add a leg to the other side that's a mirror of the side that we did, which is excellent. So from here, while we're still selecting the pelvis, we can actually go ahead and make the spine. So I'll go ahead and hit Add Spine. And what we'll want to do is we'll want to make this spine go all the way up to around where the neck is going to be. I would say just below the neck, close to where the clavicle is. And we'll go ahead and select the bottom of the spine, so just that one bone in the bottom of the spine, and then adjust the length in the spine setup. So I'll bring this length up a bit. Okay. And from here, what I can do is I'm going to resize the upper part of the spine. And I'm going to resize this to fit a width, not all the way to the shoulders, because when we make the arms, it's actually going to want to make a clavicle for it, but somewhere around this length is okay. And we can also further adjust the rest of it as well. My depth is actually okay, but the rest of my body, the spinal areas for the rest of the body, you could leave it like this, but if we want to make the weight painting a little bit easier, we could actually adjust this so that these shapes fit the rest of the body. And this is one of the beauties of cat rigging. So I can actually select this lower spine bone, and I can actually adjust the X, Y, Z setup of this. So if I wanted to adjust how wide it is, I can adjust the X quite a bit. If I wanted to adjust the depth, I could adjust the Z as well, and that also works too. The length, you could, if you lower the length, of course it'll do this again, so we don't have to adjust the length again. But just and you don't have to go again all the way out here. You can if you want, and it won't hurt anything. It actually might make, as I mentioned, the weight painting a little bit easier. And I could adjust this further. The issue is with this lower part, I don't suggest adjusting this too much because I don't want to completely cover up the pelvis bone. So just be careful when you do things like this. From here I can select the other bones as well and adjust these, again with the X, Y, and Z. And for mine, I'm actually just going to adjust mine on the X for the most part. I'm probably not going to touch the other axis points. So I'm kind of just making these finite adjustments here. Okay. Okay, so something like this is probably okay. I may end up bringing this top one in. We'll see what happens when the arm gets created. For right now, maybe I'll just keep it at this lower size. And from here, what I can do is I'll select the upper part of the spine, so the topmost part here. And what I can do is I can put in Add Arm. And Add Arm adds this arm here. And I'll adjust this in a similar way that I did the leg, where I'll select this first part of the arm, make sure that it lines up with where the upper part of the arm will start. So in order to do that, I can adjust the X and Y segments. So X and Y segments work. X, Y, and then Z brings this out. You can also, if you use Rotate tool will actually rotate this. So this is a little bit different than the leg in that respect, where the leg didn't play nicely with rotating tools because the leg was actually an IK handled leg. the arm is actually forward kinematics instead of inverse kinematics, so rotation works out fine. And I'm going to want to adjust this so it's somewhere around the middle of the arm. And then same thing with this part of the arm, I'll make an adjustment. So I'm rotating this down. You'll notice that this arm is bent quite a bit. So you can easily change this by doing rotation. So in some respects, you can roll this too. In some respects, you may find this a little bit easier to do than the leg. From here, I'll go ahead and adjust the length. So you'll still have to use the axis points adjustments in the bone setup. And I can adjust where this arm is at. Okay. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just try to line this up well with the rest of the bone structure. Okay. And then with this hand, my hand is actually face a different way, so I'll face this a different way too, where I'll adjust the rotation like so, and do a length. Okay. And this arm is actually starting to look really good. So what I can do is similar to the leg, I can try to fit this a little bit better into the model by adjusting width and depth as well. So I'll do that also, and just watch this from all different perspectives. Okay. And right here is probably okay. And notice here too, this is going outside of my model a little bit. That's okay, but I could still make rotation adjustments because, again, as I mentioned, this is a little bit easier to work with than the leg was. Okay. From here, I can still make scaling adjustments for this arm. Oops. Okay. And something like this is okay. I don't have to go nuts with this, but this is probably fine as well. And again, I don't want to overlap like the cat bones that much. It's okay if you do overlap them, but just make sure you're not covering bones too much. And I can change again height here, but I might not want to adjust this height otherwise. Otherwise it might mess up some other parts of my rig. Okay, and then I can adjust here the X if I want to. Okay, but actually right about around here is okay. Okay, so then from here I can go ahead and select this part of the bone again, so the upper part of the spine, and click on the add arm, which will add an identical arm to the other side. And then from here I can also do another add spine, and I can add this spine here, and this spine will be pretty simple. I'm going to treat this upper part as the head, and what I can actually do is I can control how many bones are here, which I could have done in the lower spine area, but this area here I don't need that much. I'll probably just need one up to the neck, and then maybe just the head. So I might bring this down to maybe 2 bones instead of 5, and then adjust the length, so I can bring this length down so around where the head's going to be, so something like this, and then I can adjust the length of this head. Actually, the length here is actually going to go outside the head, so we'll adjust the height also. And we should be able to use our move tool as well to kind of move this in the right position. Bring this length in a little bit. Okay. And then the same thing with the neck. I can adjust this where I can select this part of the neck and adjust the X segment to be a little bit wider if I want it to match my model a little bit more. I can also adjust the depth a bit. Again, but I don't have to adjust it too much. I think this is probably okay. And same thing with this part of the neck too. I can adjust this if I want to. There's also a Z as well, but the Z will bring this down, so I probably don't want to touch this part too much. Okay. Okay, and at this point, this is what my cat rig looks like inside of my model. So the last part is binding this. So I can go ahead and select the model, and then from here I can go to the Modify tab and scroll down to Skin. And in Skin, I can where bones are, I can click Add, and this will pop up a window that will add bones. And what I can do is go ahead and only turn on actually only select these rig portions. The only thing that I don't want selected at any point is that this lower that little panel area, which at this point that would be a helper, so I turned helpers off. So all these bones are okay, so I'll select these. I added all my bones, and now my bones are actually bound to my model. So if I select, for example, an IK down here, I should be able to move this leg, and the model will move with it, which is perfect. Okay. At some point, you may want to do the painting weights that's under the skin modifier as well, and I will have another video up about painting skin weights as well. Okay.